What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Niners Sickness Podcast. I am your host, Niner Beto. Welcome as you're trickling in. Welcome. We have a great show, a double header for me. Tonight, I have four amazing guests, and I'm going to bring them in one by one. Looking forward to getting to know them. So it's going to be fun. Before we get started, please do me a favor and make sure to wipe your feet before entering and smash that like button. Get ready for some amazing guests today. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a fun night. Let's get this party started. All right, everyone, welcome back. Hello to everyone coming in. Oh, man, let's get this party started. With no further ado, let me go ahead and bring in my guests. They're starting off their channel. They're doing great things. They love the 49ers. So let's get to know them. With no further ado, here they are. Good evening. We'll start with Jesse, and then we'll trickle on to Ty. Then we'll go to Maddie, and then Becca. How you doing tonight, Jess?
Everybody, Niners Jess here from the East Coast Red and Gold podcast.
Love it. How you doing, Ty? Welcome to the Niners Sickness Podcast, my friend.
Doing good. Thanks for having me, bro. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. So I'm ready for a good night.
If you feel good and look good, you do good. I love it. Maddie, how you doing, sir? Welcome to the channel.
Happy to be here. I didn't lay out my clothes beforehand like Dion used to, but I still feel all right. So
there you go. I know that thing of Dion. And last but not least, Becca, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Doing well. Thank you so much for having us.
I'm excited. You guys, I've been watching you guys from afar. I got to know Ty a little bit better. I've done a show with him with I forgot where it was, but we did a show together. Yep. I'm all over the place and I forget where I'm at sometimes. But it's my first time meeting Jess, Maddie, and Becca. So it is a pleasure meeting you guys. Everyone in the chat, please say hello to our lovely guest tonight. So we're going to get to know you guys a little bit. We're going to talk about the Niners and Bucs game a little bit towards the end. But I want my fan base to get to know you, what channel you represent, and how you became a Niner fan. You guys kind of shared a little bit with me before we went on live. But for my viewers, we'll start with you, Jess. How did you become a Niner fan, and what is your channel you represent?
Well, it all started with my dad watching Joe Montana at Notre Dame. And then as soon as the 49ers drafted him, he became a 49ers fan. So it's my dad, my mom, me, my brother, my nephew, and my one sister. And the rest is history.
Started from there. I love it. Ty, how did you become a Niner fan, my friend?
When I was 10, I started playing football and really getting into football. And I wanted to just learn as much as I could. So my uncle had this book. It was a pro football almanac guide. I forget the exact title, but on the cover it had the Redskins. It was from the '83 season. And he told me to put the book back on the shelf when I was done. And when I put the book back on the shelf, he had the '82 season and the 49ers were on the cover. So I read about the Niners and how they like to pass first, and I played receiver back then, so I was all about the passing game. I didn't care about the run, and I saw them on the cover with their white and red unis, and red was my favorite color. So I was hooked from there. Started watching them, following them, and consuming everything I could about the 49ers.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Maddie, how did you become a Niner fan, my friend?
Well, growing up in Maine, no cable, no anything. Like, I was lucky to have running water out here at times, I swear. The only time I really got to watch the Niners is if they were, playing an East Coast team or they were the late game. I really didn't like the Giants. They ran the ball. I hated running the ball. I never liked the Cowboys, and most of my family was full of Cowboys fans,
Hmm.
which I've never quite understood either. So it was just an easy fit for me. And, the first bet I ever won was 49ers beating the Cowboys, the NFC title game. First time I remember a Super Bowl winning drive was Joe Montana hitting John Taylor against the Bengals. Um, just I grew up with the Niners. They were the team, and I ended up doing local sports media in Maine for quite a few years, and nobody really wants to hear you talk about the 49ers up here. So of course you had to cover the Patriots for a long time, and once I finally got out of that, I was able to circle back and do this again. And I went to the 49ers Washington game in 2019 in the monsoon, and I was just amazed at the amount of 49ers fans that were there, completely, dominated the stadium and, completely outdid the Washington fans. And I was like, man, I'm going to go to every game that I possibly can next year. And of course, 2020 happened, and that got kind of wiped out. So I doubled down on that in 2021, and I went to 11 games last year. I've been to 8 games this year, and hopefully some more to come. And just flying out of Maine and doing the things and catching them around the country or catching them at home or whatever. So it's been great and good times.
That is awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're doing your Niner show again, doing what you love, brother. I love it. Becca, so how did you become a Niner fan, and how long have you been a Niner fan?
I have been a Niner fan since I was in elementary school. The boys had a football club, as they called it, and it basically was a high-low football pool, and they had guys for every team except three. So they came to us girls asking a few of us to participate, and they offered the Chiefs, the Niners, and the Saints. I didn't even know what a first down was, but they, played it so you could win money on the low score or high score. So even if your team was crappy, you could win. So they got us to play, and I picked the Niners, of course. And the very next year, they went on to win the first Super Bowl, and I've never looked back. So I've been a fan from day one. And, growing up in West Virginia, there were no Niner fans around. So by the time the late 80s hit, everyone's a Niner fan, and everyone knew my nickname was Montana in high school.
Oh, I love
One
it.
of so everyone knew, and I used to just like trash everyone who was a bandwagon fan, and yeah.
See, I love that. I really, really do. People that, people here locally, 'cause I'm right here near San Francisco, so I'm in the Bay Area. Niners is not so hard to become a Niner fan when you're near the team, right? But I admire from afar those that are not from the Bay Area, were not raised in the Bay Area, but yet choose to pick the Niners as a team for them to root for. And those things, I love those type of fans because it's like you have the cream of the crop. You can pick pretty much any team you want, pretty much anywhere. And you chose the Niners. So I'm glad that the Niners, or can I say the Niners chose you guys, because you guys fell in love with the team. So I'm glad you guys are Niner fans. I'm glad you guys doing your thing. I love hearing stories from every individual because everybody brings their unique style of why they became Niner fans, who brought them to it. Was it an uncle? Was it an aunt? Was it a dad? Was it a... See, I come from a complete Raider fan family. All Raiders.
Wow.
Everyone's Raiders. And I never been a follower. Always, I thought I was a leader because my dad says if nobody's following you, just going for a walk. But I've always liked to do my thing my own way. So I'm like, nah, I don't want to be a Raider fan like my family. They grew me up in that. So I started watching, and this is before Joe Montana and Bill Walsh were even Niners. When I started watching the team, and I'm like, The team was terrible. But I'm like, you know what? It's different. It's the opposite of the Raiders. I love red. So I'm like, I'm going to pick the Niners. And then the following year, here comes Bill Walsh. And then we draft Joe Montana in the third round from Notre Dame. And the rest is history. And then Jerry Rice comes along and we start building that dynasty. And we win 5 Super Bowls in the 80s and 90s. I want to ask you guys a question. Let's see who can be the first one to answer of the 4 of you. Little bit of trivia. 49er trivia.
That's Matt.
Matt?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. Not
I
necessarily.
can take him down.
Yeah,
Let's
give
go.
it to
Let's
him
go.
already.
When Jerry Rice was brought in as a rookie, a certain corner gave him a nickname year 1. What nickname was that?
Was it Fifi?
Got it. I like it. Yes, it was. A lot of
Because of
people
his
don't know.
haircut.
Beat him. I won. No.
Yeah,
You got it. No, you're 100% correct.
It
I
was
told you. You'd have it. You would have this.
it was definitely Fifi. So
Yeah.
I like throwing a little bit of trivia. I'll throw in a little bit another white. Okay, we know Joe Montana left to Kansas City, unfortunately, because Steve Young's turn and for 16 wasn't available in Kansas City. It was retired. Do you guys know why or what did
Ooh.
Montana use
I
to
know.
pick number 19?
16 plus 3.
Look at her. Yes, that is correct. 16 from 49 and 3
Good
from
job,
Notre
Becca.
Dame.
From Notre Dame.
Great job. Yeah. I'm keeping score because I'm going to give one of you guys a gift.
Her name is Montana for a reason.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well,
you're
you're supposed to marry him into his children.
At the end of this, one of you guys are going to get a gift based on how much trivia you guys answer. So be ready. I like to keep my guest a little bit on the edge, if you guys don't mind, to see what a little
All
bit of
good.
football.
Keep it coming.
Beto, I got to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
What game was Bill Walsh watching when he discovered Jerry Rice?
Oh, I know.
Who were they playing that week? Who were they playing that weekend? What town are they in? Is more what I meant. Because Jerry Rice is still playing in college.
Yeah, Mississippi State.
Yep.
Can't remember. Oh, I know it too. And I pride myself in trivia. See, it's not supposed to be the
It
other
was
way,
their Super
Maddie.
Bowl year.
Yeah. Maddie, I'm all writing to
Matt.
talk about catching
Throwing
me
you
off
a
guard.
curve.
Hey, who's the host here?
It was,
But I'm
what's
kidding,
going on
Maddie.
here?
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
kidding.
In this case, I'll give it to you. They were in town to face the Oilers. Bill
That's
Walsh
right,
was
the
up
Houston
that
Oilers.
night game planning. He turned on ESPN in Jerry Rice in Mississippi Valley State. He'd had a couple hundred yards, a couple touchdowns, just some crazy game. And he's like, man, I got to get that guy. And they had to jump all the way up to 16 to draft him, and they drafted him ahead of the Cowboys because the Cowboys were going to take him.
Yeah, and I've heard this, and I've heard of it. I just couldn't think of it. And one thing about me, people that know me, I don't guess. If I can't remember, I can't remember. If I don't know, I don't know. Because to me, is the worst thing is guessing. Guessing if you don't know and you're taking a guess, that's okay. Saying you know and you guess wrong, it's a whole. You know what I mean? It's humbling. So I don't know it, but yeah, that's right. The Houston Oilers, which are now who?
The Tennessee Titans.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So Maddie's a little bit of a historian. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, me and Maddie can have some fun talking some football, and that's all NFL, Maddie, or just particularly the Niners?
Yeah, I'm pretty much an NFL guy. Like, I liked all sports growing up, but baseball really screwed me in '94. Right? Like, I never really got over it. I never really got over it.
You and me,
I
brother.
Kind of did, but not really. So since then, it's been the 49ers came in '94 when I needed them. Right? Like. That's all I had. Preseason football that year I don't think I've ever paid more attention to preseason football in my life than I did in the summer of 1994.
Interesting.
Because there's nothing else going on.
Yeah. Baseball was a letdown. That you're absolutely right. Totally disregard to the people. Let's not even. We'll take about 45 minutes just talking about that tonight. My feelings about baseball too. I'm with you, Maddie.
Don't even get
Corey
me started.
Davis, just want to welcome Corey Davis. Corey Davis is a good friend of the channel. He's everywhere. I don't know if he's ever been to your channel. Say hello, but Corey's an amazing man. He's been open about this. He just found out recently that he has stage 4 cancer that he's dealing
damn.
with, and so please keep him in your prayers. Great guy. Love my boy Corey, and the most awesomest guy you can ever meet. Very humble guy. So Corey, welcome to the channel, my friend, and I'm glad you received the patches. Enjoy them. Enjoy them. We got Brian in the house. How you doing, Brian?
Be cold. That's my guy.
You guys know. Okay, you guys know Brian. Then we got Randy
If you have a
Daytona in
giveaway,
the house.
Bryant will win it. I assure you.
Brian. We got my girl Melissa
Just
in the
don't
house.
pick
How you doing,
number 3.
Melissa? I'm sorry, Jess.
Melissa. NJ
I
represent.
said just don't pick number 3 as far as Bryant is concerned.
If you do any sort of like contest giveaway, do not use the number 3. Just don't. Yes,
No number 3, huh?
don't bother. Yeah. don't
No,
number
Brian's
3.
is too in for that.
Any other number.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Steve, welcome. So, the Niners, let's talk a little bit about the game that we're facing. We're playing against Mr. Tom Brady, Mr. The GOAT. I like to say that we're playing the 6th round quarterback is playing the 7th round quarterback this Sunday when it comes to Tom Brady and Mr. Brock. I want to get your initial thoughts first before I even get into the game. What are your thoughts, Jess, about Brock coming in? How did he do, in your opinion, against Miami? Were you worried when Jimmy went down?
I wasn't worried when Jimmy went down, but welcome to the Brock party. He impressed me. I can't wait to see him out there on Sunday. Even him being at the podium and taking questions and him answering the way he was, he's an impressive young guy. I know he's only 22 years old and going against Tom Brady, who's in, his 22nd season, but he impressed me. And I can't wait to see him on the field on Sunday.
That's good. Yeah. He was definitely impressive. Becca, I'm going to go to you real quick. What were your initial thoughts when Jimmy went down and Brock was coming in, a 7th round pick, Mr. Irrelevant?
Mr. Irrelevant. Well, I mean, I think your heart skips a beat when your QB1 goes down and actually for us, that's QB2. So now we're like looking at the bench going, wow, we got to bring in the 3rd guy. So I do think, there's a little bit of anxiety with that. And I was super impressed with the way he performed against Miami, and that they just started bringing pressure on him, and he really held up very well under all that pressure. And I do think just reading what we've seen this week in the media and the feedback from players is that he's really taken the leadership and taken the role and putting forth some real starting quarterback quality drives and practices. So I think they're impressed with where he is at QB3, and I'm hoping that translates well on the field on Sunday.
Yeah, me too. I mean, to come in with that poise, to come in, prepared for him having that preparation that he does every week. I forgot who said it. Somebody said it about, preparing, knowing you're not going to play. It can be difficult sometimes. The fact that he was able to do that, it was amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it can do. Ty, let me ask you, what were your initial thoughts when he came in and replaced Jimmy?
Well, when Jimmy left, it was like, what the F? Because they didn't show him walk off the field or anything, so you didn't know he was injured. They just showed him a quick clip of him grimace on the bench,
True,
and then being carted away, and it was like, wait, what the F?
Yeah, what?
But then Brock was coming in, right? So when they said Brock was coming in, I was totally fine with it, really.
Interesting.
We saw him in the preseason, and he looked like a gamer. And before he came in, Kittle was standing right next to him. He fist bumped him, gave him a little headbutt, and was like, let's go. So I was like, okay. And if you look at our offense, we're not running, well, we're running intricate stuff, but all you have to do is not mess it up. And that's all he needed to do, just not mess it up.
Yep.
And sure enough, that's what he did. And I thought he played well. I thought he did well for, having the limited reps that you get as a backup QB to come in and, still be able to fire some bullets out there, especially with everything they threw at him. I'd say he did well.
Yeah, he sure did. It was amazing that Kittle was the first initial guy to give him a head bump and a fist because their schools hate each other.
Yeah.
Iowa, their schools hate each other. So
Yeah.
the fact that he was able to do that just shows you the love of your teammates once you become a 49er there.
Yeah.
Maddie, what was your initial thoughts, man? My friend, I mean, how was you feeling when you see Jimmy go down second time of going to, because we went through this week 2, losing Trey.
I was there. I was there for both of them. I've seen this episode before.
Really? Oh,
Here we
my
go.
goodness.
Yeah, I went to the Trey Lance game. It happened. I was sitting in section 246, and Trey Lance broke his leg right in front of me. This time I'm sitting in section 105, and Jimmy Garoppolo rolls out. And
I'm sorry, Matt.
kinda
Do
goes
not
down
go to the
awkwardly.
Bucks game.
He's not allowed.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Matt.
But the thing is, just a heads up, I didn't go to the NFC title game last year because there was a blizzard. So, I don't know if it's like we just win with whatever quarterback's there or what, but it's almost like, why can't we have nice things, right? Like, can't get Trey Lance, can't use Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, what in the world, right? Like, what planet is this happening on? But I remember Purdy from college because the guy he started a lot of games. He got a lot of experience.
4 years, yeah.
And that doesn't happen a lot in college anymore, right? A lot of guys play for a year or two, and they get their. He's the total and complete opposite college quarterback experience of Trey Lance in terms of he played for 4 years at this level and right. Like, to me, this is we talked about it on the show last night. This is workable clay for Kyle, right?
Well, I like that.
This is workable, moldable clay for him to do the things that he needs to do. All the guys have already talked about, like, you've already heard the Trent Williams interview that you did with Kawakami. You've heard, I believe Ayuk had an interview as well, talking about how poised this guy is, how leadery he is, you know what I mean? And they're not talking about it in a way that they're complaining about it. It's not getting complained about in back channels that this guy's, too leadery. Like, they're excited about it. They're pumped about it. I don't know. There's an energy about this guy. I don't know what it is, but, I've seen crazier things happen in my time, right? We've seen some crazy stuff happen, and people come out of weird situations and become really good football players. So, we've seen worse. And that throw that he made, after he airmailed Ayuk on that play last week in the second half, and then hit Kittle in the blitz on 3rd and long, 1.722, what was it? 1.72 seconds. He let that ball go in.
Yeah.
He had no other time. If he'd lasted 0.1 earlier, 0.1 later, that ball's incomplete, interception, and that game's completely different. Instead, he hits a huge pass, and this team struggled with 3rd downs all year.
Not with him coming in.
Problem with Brock. Not with him coming in. That was, to me, that was great stuff. So I am excited to see what happened. I hate to see that it happened under these circumstances, but whatever, man. It happens.
You're right. And Brock did play in a 4 years, the Pac-12, and so he played a lot of good defenses. But you're right. That play to Kittle, he was facing the eye of the barrel. I mean, the defender was right in his face. He did not flinch. He did not look away. He knew he was going to get hit, and he threw a dart to Kittle for a first down. That shows to me that he has poise. He's not afraid. The game is not too big for him. He's not afraid. And we still have to wait and see how he looks against the Bucs. And particularly, I'm more interested to see how he's going to look in Seattle with that fan base in a short week. But time will tell. But this kid looks like the only reason why he went so late is because his height. He's 6'1". He doesn't have that body frame of Trey Lance. He doesn't have that big arm that people say like Trey Lance. So this is why he slipped. And you're right, Maddie. It doesn't matter where you draft. I know everybody makes fun about. It makes fun about Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick, but it doesn't matter where you go, whether seventh round, first round, undrafted free agents. It matters what you do with your opportunity when you get it. Yep. Now, I'm not saying that Brock's going to be Tom Brady, okay? But let's be honest. If we can be honest with ourselves for a second, if I told you, if we can go all the way back together to before Tom Brady took his first step on the field for the Patriots, and I told he was going to be a 7-time Super Bowl champions, you guys probably would have laughed your butt off on me. No way a 6th-round pick is going to be a 7-time Super Bowl champion. And here we are, right? Again, I'm not saying Brock's going to do all, but what I'm saying is if you know who you are and you believe in yourself and you have the right support system around you, when you get your opportunity, all you can do is take advantage of your opportunity. And now I know in my show, some people have said, well, what about if Brock does really, really good and we go far with him? What about, I say, if you're going to say quarterback controversy, don't start. Trey's still the guy.
That's all this team is.
Tell me, Matt. Tell me how we feel, Matt. Tell me how you feel about this.
The quarterback controversies never stop. From the beginning of the time in this franchise, there's always some sort of quarterback controversy. Great. If we're having a quarterback controversy because he wins a Super Bowl, hot damn, we're on to something, right?
Good for us.
It's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have.
Define he wins, please. I need to know.
Right. I mean wins. I'm not just like, boy, he played really good, and you play in the Big 12 and do all those things and get all that experience, right? You play against the Iowas and the Texases and the Oklahomas and all those teams. But however that works now, because now they're all in different conferences and it's all crazy. But it's just whatever, right? From Frankie Albert to Y.A. Tittle to John Brody to Steve Spurrier to Jim Plunkett to Steve DeBerg to Joe Montana to Steve Young to Elvis Gerbach to and then like Jeff Garcia.
You forgot Gio Carmazzi. Come on.
Kaepernick and Alex Smith. Like you can just go on and on and on. This team is a walking quarterback controversy. It will never stop. There's death, taxes, and 49ers quarterback controversies. There will always be one, no matter who it is. That's it.
I tell you, that Sean Hill, Troy Smith controversy had me on the edge of my seat.
Oh my goodness! You had to bring that back.
You have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one, right? But like they couldn't even settle on one back then, right?
Oh
like,
my goodness! Oh man, you had to take me back there,
was gonna be the guy.
We had some dark days too.
Didn't we?
Man,
We sure did.
Oh my
We
goodness!
real fans remember.
With
Jim Tom Sula era, baby.
with Mike Singletary putting his drawers down in the locker room, pulling down his pants in the locker room. You guys heard about that with Mike Singletary,
We
right?
want winners.
And we want a winner.
Winners.
Although he was the reason why he did kind of turn around Vernon Davis and kind of give him that fork on the road.
No
so
one
I
gives
give
him
him
credit
that
for that either.
What was that?
I said no one gives him credit for the Vernon
Exactly.
Davis turnaround.
Yep. And
Patrick Willis gives him a lot of credit too.
Well, Singletary's a great motivator. He's a great, helps you out, but he's not a good coach. And a lot of people misunderstand that you can be a great at one thing, like positional. You can be a great defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator, but not necessarily a head coach. Look at Turner. Great offensive North Turner, but couldn't coach. You know what I mean? And so look, same thing with although I don't know anything that comes out of the Patriots and Belichick, all those coaches trees.
Wade Phillips,
no good. But Wayne Phillips, yeah, another one.
Hey, Wade.
Good positional coaches, just not kind of. And I hate to say it, but the jury's still out on Kyle. Can he be just a great positional coach, or is he going to be a great head coach? Because I don't know if you guys are already convinced of that. I'm not. I don't know where. I love Kyle. I love his play calling. But on that note, let me just, since I brought it out, and I'll start with Jesse, and I'll ask individual. What are your thoughts personally of Kyle so far? And don't hold back. Let it rip.
I love Kyle Shanahan.
Okay. Okay.
I think, Jed York actually did something right. It's just unfortunate, all the injuries that we've had and everything else. But, and it continues this year, like with Trey Lance, with Jimmy Garoppolo, but I feel like, and going back to, the Brock party, it just, he has somebody, like any quarterback that's in there, he will make them shine. And that's what I love about him, because he puts the guys in the best possible position to succeed, and it's just up to the guys to execute. And we always talk about execution, and the players do as well, but we always, like, he puts everybody in the best possible plays to to win. I mean, I know sometimes people don't get his play calling and stuff like that, but you know what? That's why we're not in the NFL. We're fans for a reason.
Me unmute myself here. Sorry about that. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely. And I'm glad I asked this question because I want to get your thoughts. Everybody has their own thoughts of Kyle. Maddie, I'm going to switch it to you. What are your thoughts of Kyle so far? Do you like him? He's okay? Or do you love the guy? Or hate the guy?
Well, I don't hate the guy,
Okay, good.
as someone who's kind of, sat through that, when you went from Harbaugh to Tom Sula and all that other stuff,
Yeah.
and then I still have PTSD from the Dennis Erickson era. Um, to me, Kyle's as good as you're going to get nowadays, right? And he's usually going to bring a really good staff with him. It's not just so much that the head coach is really good, but they're typically going to bring really good coaches that they trust, right? Like Chris Kachurik on the defensive line, such a good coach, respect around the league, and really doesn't want to be anything more, right? He doesn't seem to want to be a defensive coordinator or want to go coach somewhere. Like he just wants to be that guy. Those Bobby Turners, those are the guys that you want, and those are the guys that come in. He lost a lot of his guys this year. McDaniel left. McDaniel took some folks with him, changed up quite a few things, and I think he's learned a lot along the way, right? But um, is he? He's definitely in the top half of coaches, right? Probably top 25% of coaches right now, right? Would I like to say that he's won a Super Bowl? Yeah, and then I could really get on that. But you're not in this day and age until you win a Super Bowl. Nobody's really going to respect you, to the nth degree, anyways, right? Like that's just
Yep.
look at how long it took Andy Reid to get that sort of respect until he won his Super Bowl. It took a long time. He had to go through Philadelphia, and then he had to go through Kansas City, and then find Patrick Mahomes. It took him a long time. So then there were other coaches out there like Marty Schottenheimer and guys like that never made it happen. So, I think you can do a lot worse than Kyle Shanahan, and I think he's done a pretty good job with a lot of crazy quarterback situations, right? With some of the stuff he had to do with Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard and now Brock Purdy, like whatever, man. He seems to make chicken salad out of the meal most of the time, no matter what the ingredients are.
Yeah, yeah, very well said, Matty. Because you're right. He has gone through a curacao of quarterbacks. Unfortunately, he hasn't had a solid quarterback that he can run with. And we were hoping the Trey will be the one, and he gets hurt. And talk about this organization losing quarterbacks to injuries, and then you lose two in 1 year. That is tough. Ty, what are your thoughts, your personal thoughts of Mr. Coach Shanahan and what he's done for this team so far?
I think he's a great coordinator, also a great head coach.
Okay.
You seen him take over this team in 2017 and immediately make it competitive, as
Okay.
opposed to the two prior years where we just weren't, and the roster was terrible. And he helped, along with John Lynch, turn that over completely. And think about that. I believe they brought in like 40 something new players
Yes.
when he took it over. 2 years later, we're in the Super Bowl. We're relevant again. The Niners are back up top. And think about since then, 2019 Super Bowl, our 2020 expectation, Super Bowl. We were plagued by injuries. We know that. But the expectation was still Super Bowl. 2021, Super Bowl expectations. We got to the NFC Championship game. Here we are, 2022. Expectations. Super Bowl. That's a 4-year Super Bowl window. We haven't witnessed this since the days of Walsh and Seifert.
Come on now.
Talk about that. And everybody talks about our Super Bowl window closing. How? We just opened that thing for 4 years straight. The outlook is still a wide open window. And he's the guy at the helm coaching all this. So I think we're in good hands with him.
Yeah, and before I give it to Beck and ask her the same question, I just want to add to that, Ty, that when Kyle took over, he only kept 2 players from the last regime, which was Staley, and I'm thinking the tight end. I forgot about the tight end over, and then he kind of just started.
Garrett Selleck. It was Selleck, wasn't it?
Yeah, from the last Super Bowl.
It was Garrett Selleck.
And to put the team together, Garrett Selleck, yes. Selleck time. And to put it together, and then the one healthy season that he had, Jimmy, we went all the way to the Super Bowl. You're right. Now, I don't know yet how Becca's response is going to be, but I kind of got the feeling that she's going to kind of be on the positive side because you guys seem to be like together. But I kind of threw it the way I did because I wanted to see if any. I'm a big fan of Kyle, but I wanted to sound like I wasn't because I wanted to see your response, like if you will agree with me. And then I was kind of going to lay in like, hey, what do you mean? Tell me why he's not good. But you guys messed it up for me, which is okay. Becca, what's your thoughts of Kyle?
He's the worst thing since, I don't know.
Sliced cheese. Come on, girl. I knew I should have waited. Darn it.
She's finally feeling so comfortable now.
Now she lets her hair down. Let's go.
I love it.
I personally, we've had these conversations about the Fire Kyle people. We don't know what's in their head, but I am also, I couldn't say anything more. Everyone's really, really expressed all of the things about Kyle. You know, he's built a winning mindset and a winning team and a winning roster. And every year, as Ty, mentioned, there's an expectation that we're going to make the playoffs and Super Bowl bound because he's built that sort of roster and that kind of culture. Him and John, I'll give John Lynch credit there too. But I agree. I think, he walked in, he cleaned house, and 2 years later, we're going to a Super Bowl. And, every year we're expected to be competitive. And I don't see that changing necessarily just because maybe, we're on QB3 this year and something may happen where we don't make it. But I still believe that we will because that's who I am as a person. We're going to win. That's what I always think. But, if we don't next year, I don't see us turning and going, okay, well, here we go back to Jim Tom Sula days or, Dennis Erickson or someone like that, where we just completely flip upside down. I think that we have so much talent and they're always drafting, talent. And when someone does go down, look how many times we've had injuries and you're looking up like, who's the new guy? Where did he play college? And looking at, who's being plugged in to play because we're so deep in injuries a few years that they just managed to find these talented players and keep the bench stocked with, great players for our team. So I think their scouting, their coaching, everything they're doing is amazing. And the people that don't like Kyle, I don't get it. But I personally think he's an amazing coach, and I can't see us bringing in very many other coaches who are going to do a better job for us.
I 100% agree. I brought it up because I am so sick and tired of Mayweather fans, in my feelings type of fans that go with their emotions. They don't stick to see they don't look at the facts. They go based on how they feel. If Kyle wins, let's give him an extension. If he loses, let's fire him. It's like, look at the culture. He brought in a winning culture into this organization. Him and John Lynch has turned it around and made it relevant again, made it fun to watch, made it competitive. People are like, yeah, but we haven't won a Super Bowl yet. But my goodness, with a quarterback of limitations of Jimmy, we still went to one Super Bowl and 3 NFC championships.
Pretty close to winning.
Yeah, pretty close to win. And exactly. And he was hurt last year. You just don't do that if you're not a good head coach. And I give credit to Kyle, and I give a lot of credit to John Lynch, working together, having that relationship. This whole and you know what? Listen, as much as I disliked and talked a lot of crap about Jed York, I have respect for the kid now. You got to remember, for those that hate Jed York, when he took over this organization from his parents, he was still wet behind his ears. He was still young. He didn't know what he was doing. He was learning like a quarterback, like anything. You got to learn. But he has learned. He learned from the Jim Harbaugh mistake. So now he hires. I tell people, if you love Kyle and you love John, then you gotta love Jed for doing the hiring, and he's been out of their way. He's been giving them the reins. Okay, you run with it. You don't hear that much from Jay York, as you shouldn't hear from. He's not a Jerry Jones where he's always butted in every 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So I love what this organization is doing. I love that they trust his coach. And if anybody that doesn't like Kyle, the whole fire Kyle. This is my thing. Fine, if you're gonna fire someone, who are you going to replace him with? Everybody wants to get rid of Mike McGlinchey. I know he's not that good. I know he's terrible. I know, but
just got attacked.
Tell me another tackle out there right now that is better than Mike to replace him. As sad as it is,
we had on PFF last night on our show, and statistically, he's saying, McGlinchey's not that bad. Everyone seems to hate him, but by grading and by his play, he's not as bad as people make him out to be.
He actually said that Spencer Burford was the worst.
Yeah.
But going back to Kyle Shanahan, I think most fans, they really want the explosive plays and just to, just
fantasy
throwing
football.
Like bombs down the field. Right. Throwing bombs down the field and everything. And if it doesn't happen, oh my God, Kyle's terrible.
Right.
And it's like, and there's more to football. There's more to the game than just like, doing what Christian McCaffrey did against the Rams. Like everyone was like, oh my God, Kyle's great. Kyle Shanahan is awesome. But then that didn't happen again. And it's like, oh my God, fire Kyle, fire John. Like, I don't get it. And quite frankly, I wish it would stop.
Let me ask you guys
it's funny.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say it's funny because, Eddie DeBartolo made the same mistake when he first started. He hired Joe Thomas to run the franchise for 2 years.
Yes.
And the guy was an absolute nightmare. Like, he had been run out of everywhere else.
Good point. Very good point.
People told him, like, yeah, don't do it. This Joe Thomas guy, like, literally made them clean out old 49ers memorabilia and stuff out of the office because, quote, there was no need for it anymore. Luckily, a few folks were able to save some things, but a lot of stuff got lost because this guy was just an egomaniacal crap bag. And I think they went through like 3 coaches in 3 years or 4 coaches in 4 years until DeBartolo finally was like, no, we're not doing this again. Wiped him out and hired Walsh. So like, even he didn't come in and just, touch the franchise and it turned to gold. Like, it took 2 years. And trading away 2 first-round picks for O.J. Simpson's knee to get that stuff rolling.
Come on
right?
now.
So like, for Jed to kind of do that same thing, like, and get that stability down, it's kind of neat. It was like the great 49er reset, right? And there it was.
Yeah. Every time I think of Jed, I think of Uncle Eddie and the parallels that they went through and how close they are at that it kind of worked the same way in their careers. So we're definitely in good hands there. I feel the bloodline working,
Exactly.
Isaiah Wynn can't stay healthy for a week. I'm not sure who just said Isaiah Wynn could be healthy. Isaiah Wynn can't stay healthy for like an hour. Isaiah Wynn will tear his hip muscle getting out of the shower. I assure you. That's Isaiah Wynn. That's what he does.
That's kind of like Jalen Hurd, right? He would get hurt just walking into the practice field from his own shadow.
It was like Jeff Wilson like popping his MCL standing up in a chair last year. Like that's the sort of freak stuff that happens to us, right? Well, that would happen to Isaiah Wynn. Like
Yeah.
he'd tear a UCL like eating a turkey leg or something. Like just some sort of weirdness.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys. I want to ask you guys a question. In your opinion, and I'll let you guys choose who wants to go first on this one. But I'm going to ask all you guys this question. What are your thoughts and feelings of Javon Kinlaw? Do you guys feel that he can still be a great player? Is he a bust? Not necessarily because of what he of what he can do on the field or not can, but just the fact that he can't stay healthy. I want to get your true feelings on Javon Kinlaw, and was he the right pick, knowing that he had knee issues? Is it something that's coming back to bite us because we knew about it? We could have got Worf. Imagine Worf and Trent opposite sides. That would have been scary, but that's another question. But Javon Kinlaw, whoever wants to go first on this one, what are your thoughts about Javon Kinlaw?
I think it's pretty unfortunate that he's, been injured, and I think it was the right pick.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's been unfortunate with the injuries. I know Kyle had said that he's going to be taken off IR pretty soon. Most people will say that he's a bust, and it's just I can't stop saying that it's been unfortunate because it has. But when he's in there, he gets the job done, especially him and Eric Armstead.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Anyone else want to add to
I
it?
feel the same way. I think it was the right pick. I know they saw the knee issues, but they did their due diligence. They didn't think this was going to be a long-term issue. Who knew that it would be what it is, right? And even him, they gave him the opportunity to get it cleaned up and such, and still, you can't foresee something like that happening. But it was a position in need. We needed to replace Buckner, to strengthen that defensive line, and that's how we build our defense from the defensive line back. And it's just an unfortunate thing. Sometimes these players, they get an injury, a nick, or something that they just can't recover from. And this just might be his thing. So we don't know. We have to wait and see how this plays out.
Exactly. I just want to make a comment real quick before I give it to the rest of you. My boy Terradome says Isaiah Prince has been better than Mike McClinchy. To me, best availability is availability. If you listen, he might be a better player than McClinchy, but if he's always hurt and off the field, it doesn't do me no good. I'd rather have mediocre McClinchy but on the field than have a possible great tackle but sitting on the sidelines talking to the other players and not in there. So I hear you. I don't disagree. I think he is better than McClinchy, but he's not healthy enough for me to convince me for that. Any thoughts real quick on that comment, and then we'll go back to the Javon Kinlaw for the rest of you. I think Matt wants to answer. I can see it.
It's more. I think right now it's just so tough. Like what's out there right now has been out there for a long time, right? Like I look at the remaining free agent market like the like convenience store pizza, right? Like
love it.
It's been out there all day. Some of it's new, right? But like you get to the end of the day, like when you get to lunchtime and there's still breakfast pizza left, it's like is that fresh breakfast pizza or is that just left over from 8 o'clock?
That's a good point.
So the stuff that you've got out there right now is kind of
fill you up and going to satisfy your hunger. Like what is your
Is this breakfast pizza going to be any better than me just making myself a sandwich, right? Like I don't know. Like it doesn't. There's nothing out there right now on the street that is better than what you have because one, it hasn't been in the system all year. So it doesn't know all the details and the ins and outs, which is such an important thing nowadays. And then two, like if it was better, I feel like our football people already would have went out and gotten them, right? Like I don't know. To me, like I look at Mike McGlinchey and Taylor Lewan are like the same dudes, right? The team, like the actual team's fans, The fans that are a team of them hate them so much. When I went to a Titans game a few years ago, all anybody ever did was complain about Taylor Lewan. They still do that about Mike McGlinchey, right? He does things all the time that will drive you nuts, like the blocking air thing 2 weeks ago. Still, like people are still very bitter about that online. But it's like they've put him in the system at this point, and these are the football people, right? Like, what are you gonna do? Right? This is who you got. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing like you just said about Javon Kinlaw, right? Like that to me was an odd pick because it put him in an unfortunate situation because he was taken because they got rid of DeForest Buckner. Yeah, and all right, thank you, Isaiah Prince. Isaiah Wynn. I saw Isaiah Wynn.
I'm talking about you're right. I'm sorry. I was referring to Isaiah Wynn, not Prince. My apologies.
You're good there. But yeah, the Kinlaw thing to me was okay. Well, we traded Buckner. This is our guy. This is our guy. This is our dude, right? Like this is it, and we'll get his knee straightened out. Unfortunate situation. So now he comes in instead of being able to develop for a year under a folks. Like he's got to be the guy, right? Like so.
Yeah, good point. I know people have been calling you Becca. Is that what you like to go by, Beck or?
Becca. I've been called worse. Whatever.
Like I like to say, call me anything you want. Just don't call me late for dinner, and I'm good. I'm a big boy. I like to eat. So, Becca, what are your thoughts on the Javon Kinlaw situation?
Well, my thought is, I'm not an NFL scout. So these guys are doing all this due diligence. They're out there looking at these players, and they're trying to make the best choices for the team and who's going to fit and their fitness for duty, type of thing. So I don't know that you can predict whether or not somebody's going to have re-injuries and really, really struggle with that. They probably looked at his records and thought, this doesn't appear to be serious. It doesn't look like it's going to be an issue. And then, you can never, predict that stuff. And, remember the Trent Baalke bench of ACL rehab we had, we would literally draft people with ACL or MCL tears that we were going to rehab and have these quality players that were magically going to come back. And no one ever really managed to get across that hump. So I feel like the team doctors and the team are obviously taking close looks at those things, but I don't think you can predict that. And everyone, as Jess said, it's unfortunate. I think Kinlaw is good when he plays and he really does a great job. But yeah, it's unfortunate that, he struggles with injuries.
Yeah, he does. So I'm gonna ask you guys individually. So we'll start with Jesse, and I'll move across to Ty, Maddie, and Becca. A question regarding the Buccaneers as we coming to a close on our show. Your different thoughts of the game. Jesse, I want to ask you, what scares you the most, if there's anything that scares you facing the Bucs this Sunday? And if it is something that scares you, what could the Niners do to lighten up that load for you, if you will?
I think the thing that scares me is Tom Brady getting hot.
Okay.
I think our defense needs to be on their assignments. No one needs to try to be a hero. Just, let's dot our I's, cross our T's. And let's play 49er football.
I love it. Good answer. Ty, let me ask you, how do you think our corners or secondary will do against their top receivers? They're all healthy and playing good football. Do you think they can hold up against their receivers, Ty?
I think they can. I think they'll do all right. They've been holding up all year. As long as they stay disciplined and do their jobs. We talked about this yesterday. Stay disciplined, do your job. Don't try to, be a hero. They'll be fine because they've matched up with tough receivers all year long and they've held up. So they just need to do their job. I think we'll be all right.
I love it. Matt, let me ask you something. How do you think our linebackers would do against their linebackers. They got two pretty good linebackers. I believe we have three great linebackers. How do you think those matchups, and what I mean by linebackers, how do you think our linebackers will do against their offense, and how do you think their linebackers will do against our offense?
They do have a tough defense. Todd Bowles is pretty smart. He's going to have some schemes in there. Um, Brock Purdy is going to have to make plays, or they're going to have some sort of trick play or something like that, right? Like at the end of the day, like that's he's going to have to make some plays. And the good news is he's got playmakers to do that, right? He's got people out there that can do things and win one-on-one matchups that he needs. For the Bucks, the best thing that for the Bucks offense going up against the 49ers linebackers, that's a tough matchup. Brady is very smart. There's nothing he hasn't seen. But you're talking about three very versatile linebackers, very smart linebackers. As long as they stay disciplined and the guys up front are giving that push to flush Brady out and make him uncomfortable, forget it, man. Like that's all they need to do, and they can win this game. And one thing that I actually saw in this last game that I hadn't seen a lot of this year is getting the hands up in the passing lane, batted balls. This is such a good pass rushing team, but sometimes that pass rush goes for naught because they're not batting the ball down at the line. They're not. If you don't get there, you're supposed to get your hands up. A lot of times they're not doing that. I noticed a lot more of that in the last game, and you actually saw a couple of batted balls in that last game that you're not typically seeing at the line recently. So that's good news, and that's another great way for them to start getting some turnovers and turning the tide and taking more pressure off this offense. While Brock Purdy, gets into game shape.
I love it. Yeah, and the person you mentioned about the blocking the ball, Drake Jackson, coming out of USC, he's the one that's been doing the majority of the blocking, the ball, batting the balls down, and J.J. Watt is very well known for that. He knows that if he can't get to the quarterback, especially those quarterbacks with a quick release, get your hands up, and try to stop the ball going through. And you saw it happen this game against Miami. So Drake Jackson, I think this kid's going to be special coming forward. So I like that. Becca, they got two running backs in Fournette and Rashad White. We got CMC and Jordan Mason. Which team will have a better run game against each other's defense, us or them, and why?
Ooh, that's a really good. What'd you say, Ty?
I said you gave Becca the easy one.
Yeah, that is an easy one.
Well, I definitely think we're going to have the better run game for sure. I think that, we just have a stronger, the cupboard's full. We've got great running backs. We always have the ability to run the ball. We're really strong there. I don't think Miami is as strong there. They're really averaging, I think, fairly low in the run game, and they're only averaging 17 points a game on top of that. So, I think the defense really is just going to have to hold up for us and do their job, as everyone else already mentioned. But, I think they're great at shutting down the run. We're number one in all of these categories. Like, we're number one in everything. So if we really hold them to, our average, so I think, what is that, 60 yards game or something, then that's going to be great for us. And, keeping Tom Brady under pressure, making him throw some crappy plays out there, throw balls away all day long. And keep them to scoring 17 points in our average or their average. They're only averaging 17. If we hold them to that standard and our standard, then we win this game on the ground, in the air, all the way around.
Wonderful. And right before we come to a close, I'm going to have the viewers ask one of you guys a question each, if you don't mind. So real quick, to all the viewers on the panel tonight, address a question to one of the four panel. Don't make it too hard or too easy. But make sure you add a hashtag in front of your question. Put a hashtag, then your question, so that I can bring it up amongst all the scrolls. So hashtagging your question and then address it who you want the question to be answered by. By whom? Either by Jess, Ty, Maddie, or Becca. And we'll have them answer to the best of their ability. And then I'm going to do a real quick, maybe 2 trivia questions. And at the end of the day, I'm going to give you guys each a gift. So, but we're just going to make it for the fun of it. Just for the fun of it. I love to give gifts away to my guests because I appreciate your time. I understand your times are everybody has families and work, and so I appreciated your time on my show. If nobody brings up a question, and then we can just move on. Let's see if anybody has a question for you guys.
Steve needs a time out for too many exclamations.
Here we go.
Never
Maddie.
have too many exclamation marks.
There you go, Maddie.
Yes, I agree. I 100% agree with that. He does. He gets rid of it on average quickly. Tom Brady does not like to hang on to the ball long.
Is it
right?
2.5? I think is it? He holds it.
Yeah, he does not, and that's just that's part of the way that he's been able to get this length in his career. Like he knows his limitations, he knows the things he's doing. So getting hands up for everybody, not just Drake Jackson. Whether it's Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, everybody get their hands up, right? Get your hands up. Pretend this is a party and get your hands up. That's really what I want to see here.
And you got Brian for you too, Maddie. Again, there you go.
7 different Super Bowls. How many? Oh man! All right, let me think. Okay, Ray Wersching was Super Bowl.
2 of them.
Okay, Wersching, Kofer, Brian. So I want to say 3. And then you're talking about the other 2, and then like 3 out of the winners, and then you'd have the other 2, which would be 5, because you had what? It was. Yeah, so you had the other 2. So
5,
you're going to have 5 total 7 Super Bowls, 5 kickers.
I like
3
it. I
for
love
the
it.
first 5.
And then Taradom has a question for Ty.
Why don't we run Jordan Mason more? Do you think he's a better pure running back than CMC between the tackles? I think he's more of a downhill runner than CMC in between the tackles. Like you saw it this past Sunday. He's that one cut, put your foot in the ground, go straight runner. Just like the days of Terrell Davis and Orlandis Gary in this offense. That's what they did. They saw the opening and hit it. Boom. So he's more of that pure guy. That's why I think we'll do well. If we go back to the stretch zone running with him back there, why don't we run him more? I think it's simply because CMC does so much for this offense. It's hard to get him off the field. That's pure and simple. That's what it is. He does so much. I mean, you saw him break the 30-yarder last week. Just when you think, he doesn't have it in him, boom, big play via the run. So that's what it is. It's all about that.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, so let me. I don't have no more questions. Okay, we have a question for Shifty. What's up, Shifty? Welcome to the show. For Jess, there you go, Jess.
That's a great question.
Who was the nicest, most talkative Niner you met when you were able to meet the players and coaches? That's a good one. I like Drake Jackson. When I asked him for a picture, he had said, "Oh, I'm glad I went to get my hair cut." I would say Kyle Shanahan too.
I was about to say you're going to make Kyle Shanahan jealous.
Yes,
he followed you from San Francisco to Atlanta.
That has a lot of Kyle's faces on the shirt. And so when I met him in Atlanta, I said to him, I was like, is it weird that I have your face all over my shirt? And he goes, no, not at all. Come on, let's take a picture. Like he was probably one of the most humble people I've ever met. But everybody commented, Juice commented on my shirt, Claire Kittle, and stuff like that. So, but they're really a nice bunch. I never met a player or coach that, didn't want to take a picture or have like a quick conversation.
I love that. I love that. This question was asked for me, but I'm going to have Becca answer it. 196 49er. Do you think the Niners offense is slowly becoming a pass first offense?
I don't think so. I think out of necessity, we may have had to do that sometimes, with injuries and whatnot. But I think, clearly we brought in Christian McCaffrey. My goodness, we used 7 running backs last week. So I don't think so. I think, we are still looking to really play our game, which is run first and then, pass. And I definitely don't think that we're becoming that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
like to follow that up real quick. It's definitely out of necessity because if you look at the past 2 weeks, these teams are loading up the box.
Yeah.
They're putting
Goal line defense,
all 11 guys and their grandmothers in the box, saying, "We dare you to throw on us."
Stand here.
Grandma's got
Brock
low
Purdy,
center of gravity, baby.
it was a grandma can play the zero technique, but they're saying we
reindeer ain't
dare
running
you to
her
throw
over.
it on us. Yeah, we dare you to throw it on us. So we're throwing
Yeah.
first to loosen up that offense, that defense, I should say. And then if you notice, Kyle does get into a run game. He doesn't get into a rhythm. So that's all it is.
Well, once you sting them once or twice downfield deep, then they recognize that you can't put everybody up there all the time, or you're going to lose the game downfield. We're going to take the big shot and win some of those, and you don't have to hit too many to score some points. So, yeah, I mean, when just like you saw when Purdy came in last week, what did they do? Boy, they came heavy in all up front. Everybody was there, including Grandma. And so, forcing us to throw on them. So, but yeah, I think that's only out of necessity when, we're not really that team.
wonderful, wonderful. Earlier, when I gave a question to Becca, you guys said there was an easy question. So I'm going to start this trivia with Becca. I want to see how this
Why
will
did
fit
that,
in.
Jess?
Are you
Why
ready,
did you
Becca?
say that, Jess?
Well,
I didn't say that, Ty.
I'm as ready as I'll ever be, Beth.
All right, here we go. Who was the first San Francisco 49er to finish his career with more than 50 interceptions? Was it Dwight Hicks? Was it Jimmy Johnson? Was it Martin Hanks? Or was it Ronnie Lott?
Oh my God. Well, I do remember Dwight Hicks and the Hot Licks. I don't know if he was the first, but gosh, that's like my first instinct is to say that, but then it's Ronnie Lott. So I don't know. I think I have to go Ronnie. I'm probably wrong.
You're absolutely right. He had 51 receptions as a 49er. Good for you. I love it. I love it. So let me go ahead and ask Jesse. I'll go with the ladies first. How many receiving yards did Jerry Rice compile during his career as a San Francisco 49er? 16,598? Was it 18,442? Was it 12,470? Or was it 4,195?
Ooh.
You talking career numbers, receiving yards?
Yep. How many receiving yards did Jerry Rice compile during his career as a San Francisco 49er?
Okay. I see what you did there.
Receiving, I think that's a high number.
Go over the numbers one more time.
16,598, 18,442, 12,470, or 14,195.
I'm gonna go 14,195.
14. Now you're gonna hear an X, or you're gonna hear a little jingle right. 14.95. No. You want to take another guess?
Wasn't the 18?
Thank you, Jess.
Yeah,
Number 2.
Yeah, that was my next thing. I was gonna go with the 18 one.
18. Here we go. 18,442. Good job there, Ty, for backing up your partner. I love it. Teamwork,
Thank you,
right?
Ty.
I got her back.
That's what it is teamwork. I'm saving Matt for last because I want to find a really not so easy one for Matt.
That's just what I need. Thank you.
So Ty.
Who was the water boy in 1978 that handed
And you know what?
balls?
He would know the
That
answer
was
to
His
that.
first
that was
Gatorade cup
No, I will not. I
at
assure you I
Kezar
won't.
Stadium. Go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. I'm looking. Because let's see here. Let's see here.
It was Roger Craig.
That one's too easy.
That one's too easy, Ty. Everyone knows that one.
Who was the first? Oh, that one's too easy. I think Ty can get that one.
I don't know much. I just became a fan
Okay, here we go.
a few years ago.
Which of the following players finished his career, 49er career, with the most sacks? Charles Haley, Cedric Hardman, Tommy Hart, or Brian Young?
Brian Young.
Brian Young?
It's Haley. Nope. Who was it?
Third time's a charm.
Cedric Hardman.
Hart said that. Really?
Yeah,
What's the number?
I wouldn't guess that either.
I wouldn't either.
I normally I can show it on the share screen, but since I have I didn't set it up. I should have.
It's
My
okay.
apologies, so you guys can see what I'm reading as well. And trust me, I'm not guessing wrong for you guys. I'm picking what you pick. So let's see. Okay, here comes Matty Ice. I can see the ice in his veins already.
Here it comes.
Is there any hard ones in here? And I'm afraid for you, Matty. I'm just in general because let's see here. No, that. Ooh. Okay, this one's interesting. I don't know this one. So if you know it, I would love to know it. Which 49er linebacker was known as Fudge Hammer? Was it Patrick Willis, Bill Romanowski, Ken Norton Jr., or Frank Newley?
Are you reading football or porn? What the hell?
I think that's how you pronounce the last name. N-U-N-N-L-Y. Newley. Natalie Maron's pronouncing it wrong.
What was the hammer again?
What was the question? Or the
What
name?
was it? I need the hammer, and then I'm going to need the names again because I got lost at hammer. I thought it was a question about MC Hammer. And I was
No. Which 49er linebacker was known as Fudge Hammer?
Fudge Hammer. Okay.
Fudge Hammer.
All right. That also sounds all right.
Patrick Willis,
Fudge
Bill
Hammer.
Romanowski, Ken Norton Jr., or Frank Newley, or whatever. It's N-U-N-L-Y.
I am going to go specifically by the fact that I never heard. Okay, one, I can't imagine they're going to call Bill Romanowski Fudge Hammer. Okay, so we're going to do Who Wants to Be a
Process of
Millionaire.
elimination.
That's good. That's
Okay.
good.
All right, so that one's gone. I don't ever remember anyone calling Patrick Willis Fudge Hammer, and I feel like that would be something that would have been utilized all throughout social media. So I'm going to 50-50 that one down.
I like the way you're breaking it.
And I'm going to go, since I didn't hear it with anybody else, I'm going to go with Frank Nunley.
All right. Yes, sir.
Go.
Nick, hot pleasure. Teammate
Yeah, 'cause
Stan
I didn't
Hitman
remember
saying
that was Ken Norton
he looked
either.
like a fudge and hit like a hammer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like,
Already
yeah,
then.
Okay, then.
that's pretty good. I was thinking, I kind of built the same way, Patrick. I was with you. I was kind of like Kent Norton, Frank. I'm like, I don't even know who that guy even played for the Niners. So there you go. So much for that one. I saw Fudge Hammer 38 on video, says Randy. And then I just caught that as I read it. Freaking dude, man. Freaking dude.
Randy Daytona.
registered.
I saw a canceled check for a fudge hammer after a bachelorette party, but that was
It registered after I said it, a little bit delayed. I'm like, this dude. Good job, Randy. You got me to read it out loud like a dummy. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
And then Turner says Niner sickness after dark, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Oh man.
The true Niner sickness comes out. Is this a Niner show?
$9.99 a month, and we'll DM you.
Yeah,
something spicy.
$9.99 a month. Exclusive interviews with us individually. Oh my goodness! Now, what's next? What are you wearing? Oh my goodness!
I was going to
baby,
say,
ASL.
we need to deposit another $10.99 to continue this.
Well, this turned left field right.
Break out the red light.
Yeah, oh, look at that. Dim down the lights. If Maddie comes out with a robe, that's it. The show's over. Show's over.
Oh man.
I love it, guys. Hey, guys, it was fun having you guys. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit after the show. Don't go anywhere regarding your guests. Everyone that participated tonight, thank you for joining the show tonight. Truly want to appreciate to all the viewers. I always say this on all my shows. My podcast is nothing without you, the viewers. Truly appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to my wonderful guests. They are amazing. Would love to have you guys back. Thank you for making it tonight. And until the next show, have a wonderful, blessed night. And we'll see you on the next Niner Sickness podcast. But before we go ahead, Ty. Where can they reach you guys and follow you? What social media?
Yeah, we're the East Coast Red and Gold podcast. It's ECRG_IE Sports on Twitter. Just hit us up there, or you can reach us individually. We'll get at you.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're on every Wednesday at 8 Eastern. Join us. We have a good time.
Love it. Love it. Make sure to like and follow them and join them. They do amazing work. Until then, God bless and good night.